Joe Ducard here, and in this video I want to show you 10 ways that you could stand out from the average guy and you could attract women much easier. So the first way to be better than 90% of the guys out there is to work out regularly, okay? And I found all statistics to support most of these things here. And one of the statistics is that less than 10% of people work out regularly. So by you working out, by you feeling better, being in better shape, being more confident, all the tons of benefits that come from working out, you could stand out and be different than 90% of the guys out there and be in better shape and have more confidence. The second way to stand out and be better than the average guy is to approach women in person, okay? Every dude is on the apps, is online, trying to hit girls up through these messages. And I go out all the time and I see very little guys doing actual approaches. Yeah, maybe some guys get wasted and will talk to a girl here and there. And there are guys who do approaches, but definitely it's less than 90% of people who actually do approaches. Shit, it's less than 90% of people who even go out to socialize in the first place. And then once you get there, it's a small percentage who are actually approaching women in person. Like I always say, meeting women in person, I believe, is the most effective way to stand out and also to meet women. So just by approaching women in person, just doing it at all, you're gonna stand out from 90% of the guys. The third way to be better than the average guy, better than the 90% of average guys, is to cut out watching pornography. This includes, I would even include, being on Instagram and following, models and all this other stuff like that. This stuff is proven to be toxic for your brain. This superficial worship of women and all this other stuff. I'm not gonna go into all of them in this video. You can Google it for yourself, but there's so many health factors that get decreased from watching pornography, okay? So just cutting that out of your life, and having more vigor and having more energy and having more excitement to be around and to meet women in real life without this dumbed down brain of ours from being on Instagram, looking at these girls and watching pornography, will set you apart and give off an energy that'll be different than 90%, if not more than 90% of guys out there. The fourth way to be different and better than 90% of the guys out there is to eat healthy, okay? Most people eat like shit. They eat crappy food that drains their energy, that keeps them in bad shape. So this goes along with exercising. If you're working out and taking care of your body, if you're not feeding yourself good, nutritious food that makes you look good and feel good, more importantly, you're gonna have more energy and be more attractive. The fifth way to stand out from 90% of the guys out there is to cut out drugs and alcohol, okay? This is something that me personally, I was never was into doing drugs or drinking alcohol, but I've seen that a lot of guys, most guys who wind up drinking, wind up getting to a certain point where they actually turn women off and being way too drunk and too messed up. Hangovers and all that other stuff like that. Taking care of your body and cutting those things out and being able to be sober, not only will you gain more lessons and grow more as a person, but you'll be a more attractive person overall by cutting those out of your life. And you'll save a lot of money as well too. And the last point leads into my next point, which is have some savings, okay? I looked the statistics up today that 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That means that one paycheck to the next one, they're always, on the last limbs with how much money they have to pay for their car payments, their insurance, their lifestyles, all these other things. So if you cut out some of that excess spending, which, drugs and alcohol are a great way to cut down on spending, cooking healthy food as well, which I mentioned before, and cooking at home will save you a ton of money from eating out. Just doing those few things, you'll now have extra money in savings that will give you more peace of mind and give you some freedom to do more things in your life. So having that extra savings will definitely increase your peace, your confidence, and your overall well-being. The seventh way to stand out from over 90% of the guys is to give a fuck about your fashion. I'm not gonna hammer this because I have so many videos where I talk about this. And the reason I'm always talking about this is because I think this is one of, if not the only, instant fixes that you could make as a guy to become more attractive to women right away, is to change your fashion, okay? Wear clothes that fit, wear something that stands out a bit, okay? I was out with a student last weekend and I had my black leather jacket, black jeans, regular undershirt, but I wore a cool red scarf. Now that other stuff was cool, it fit well, but the cool red scarf just kind of offset a little bit of all the black I was wearing. And I got several compliments over the night. And even my student was looking at me like, man, I gotta get one of those scarves. The scarf cost me $5. But the point was, I knew that wearing that and standing out and being a little different would make a huge difference. And as I was out and I looked around at the average fashion that the guy was wearing, baggy clothes, plain clothes, nothing that was actually helping them out. So do yourself a favor, get some cool duds and stand out. The 8th way to be better and have a better chance at attracting women, better than 90% of the guys out there, is to have a game plan when it comes to meeting women. Okay, a lot of guys just wing it. Okay, I'll swipe around on the apps a bit. Yeah, I'll go out a bit. I'll have some beers. We'll see what happens, right? But they don't have a strategy or a game plan, okay? Even something as simple as, I'm gonna go out 2 nights a week. I'm gonna do 5 to 10 approaches. I'm gonna approach 5 to 10 girls that I'm attracted to, or even simpler than that, right? I'm gonna go out 1 night a week, right? And I'm going to warm up and mingle with some people around me and then approach 3 girls that I'm attracted to, right? Just having simple goals and a simple game plan. Know then from there what to say next, and all that other stuff, which I talk about in my other videos and I teach. Having that game plan will set you apart from 90% of the guys out there. The 9th way to set yourself apart from the 90% is to read books, okay? I heard a statistic as well the other day that less than 10% of people buy 100% of all the books out there. So that means there's a lot of people out there who aren't doing any reading. So reading and improving yourself gives you interesting things to talk about, gives you some introspection, helps you grow as a person, and just makes you a better person overall. I've learned a lot from books throughout the years. So just by reading regularly, you're going to set yourself apart from 90% of the people out there. And the 10th thing on my list to set yourself apart and become in that elite 10% of people is to limit or cut out social media usage. Now, I still use social media. I use it mostly for my business, my Facebook group to keep in touch with people, and I have an Instagram that I still use. But what I've done is I've limited my Instagram use down by about 90%. And what I do is, even if I have a story, I'm doing something cool and I want to document, which I've recommended before isn't a bad thing to do to keep people in the loop, I'll go out, do what I want to document. I'll take pictures, I'll take videos, and then in one shot, I'll go on Instagram, I'll upload them to my story, and then I'll uninstall the app. So I have the app uninstalled on my phone about 90% of the time. If there's something I do want to post, I sign in, I post it, and then I uninstall the program. Sometimes I'll check it when I'm going to the bathroom in the morning, or I'll check it at night before I go to bed, and I'll just do a short burst, which is something called batch processing, which is really huge, which is, just checking something in a batch. I'll answer some messages, check a few pictures, and then delete the app for a while. So that way I'm not incessantly popping up my phone, checking it, okay? That stuff is also shown to increase social anxiety and lower your happiness. So just limiting your social media use. And look, if you don't have much of a following, you don't use it that much anyway, I suggest you delete a lot of these social media apps completely altogether anyway. Because they're really, if you sit down and ask yourself, are these things helping or are they hindering my life? 90% of the time, they're hindering rather than helping your life. So hopefully you're doing a lot of these things. And if you are doing a lot of these things, let that be a reminder to yourself that you're an elite group of people, okay? You're in an elite group of guys who's actually taking care of himself and doing some awesome stuff to, be the best version of yourself, right? And because of that, you'll be a special person to meet women and also to meet everybody in general, right? So you'll put yourself in that elite category. And if you're not, then definitely take these 10 things and start to implement them and make them a part of your life. I encourage you to become part of the 10% and be the best version of yourself. When you're ready, I'll have the next video for you over here. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's have a great year.